I did not scream. I did not argue. I did not even ask questions. I just stayed quiet. Because sometimes the most powerful thing in a room is not anger. It is silence. And the night I realized why my silence scared her was the night everything finally changed. People expect noise when something breaks. They expect shouting, crying, accusations thrown like knives across a room. They expect plates shattering against walls and doors slamming hard enough to shake the windows. That is what movies have taught us. That is what drama looks like. But real endings are rarely dramatic. Sometimes the loudest reaction is no reaction at all. And that is what terrified her. Not my anger, not my pain, my stillness. My name is Daniel Harper. I am not a hero. I am not a villain. I am not even a man searching for sympathy. I am just someone who spent 14 years loving a woman who slowly, quietly, carefully stopped loving me back. 14 years is not a small thing. It is routines built brick by brick. It is inside jokes that no one else understands. It is shared glances across crowded rooms. It is knowing how someone takes their coffee without asking. It is knowing the tone of their breathing when they are stressed. It is building a life that feels permanent. We built that life. At least I thought we did. 14 anniversaries celebrated at restaurants we returned to every year. 14 birthday cakes where we stood side by side while friends sang too loudly. 14 Christmas mornings with matching pajamas and carefully wrapped gifts under a tree that leaned slightly to the left because we never bothered fixing the stand. From the outside, we were stable, solid. The kind of couple people admired. The kind people compared themselves to. We had the quiet neighborhood, trimmed hedges, 2 cars in the driveway, and a dog that barked every time a delivery truck passed. We had vacations documented online. Sunset pictures, beach smiles, filtered happiness. Friends would say we were lucky. Colleagues would call us goals. Family would point at us during gatherings and whisper about how we had figured it out. But pictures lie. They capture a moment, not the distance growing between 2 people standing inches apart. Distance does not arrive with an announcement. It does not knock. It settles quietly in the space between conversations. It grows in pauses that used to be filled with laughter. It hides in the way someone says your name without warmth. At first, it was so subtle I questioned myself. It began with small delays. Text messages answered minutes later instead of instantly. Then hours. Then sometimes not at all. She would apologize and say she was busy. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Then the showers grew longer. Not suspiciously long, just slightly extended. Enough to notice, enough to feel different. Her phone started living face down on the table. It used to rest openly beside her plate. Now it was always angled away, always silent, always guarded. When I walked into a room, conversations ended quickly, screens dimmed, energy shifted. I noticed every change. When you have loved someone for over a decade, you become fluent in them. You recognize their moods before they speak. You sense tension before it becomes visible. You feel when something is misaligned. One night, as casually as possible, I asked if everything was okay. She smiled. But it was a quick smile, tight, practiced. "You're overthinking," she said. That word can dismantle confidence. Overthinking. It makes you question your instincts. It makes you feel dramatic, irrational. So I stepped back. I convinced myself I was imagining things. Love means trust, I told myself, and trust sometimes means silence. But silence can also become self-betrayal. There was one moment I will never forget. An ordinary Tuesday evening. Nothing remarkable about it. We were eating dinner while the television murmured in the background. Her phone buzzed. She glanced down and smiled. It was not the kind of smile she gave me when I told a joke. It was not polite. It was not routine. It was alive, bright, almost electric. She tried to hide it quickly, but I saw it. And in that second, something inside me shifted. It was not jealousy. It was not rage. It was displacement. Like I was watching my own life from a step behind. Like I was slowly being edited out of scenes I used to belong in. I did not say anything. I finished my meal. I washed my plate. I went to bed. But that night, sleep felt different, heavier. Over the next months, warmth faded. Not dramatically, just gradually. Goodnight kisses felt automatic. Love you sounded rehearsed. Conversations turned practical. Bills, schedules, groceries, logistics replaced intimacy. She stopped telling me about her day, the small annoyances, the random observations, the pointless details that once filled our evenings. I did not realize how sacred those details were until they disappeared. That was when I understood something painful. You do not lose someone in one catastrophic moment. You lose them in tiny withdrawals, in emotional micro-abandonments, in little pieces of attention redirected elsewhere. The hardest part was not suspecting something. It was doubting myself. Maybe long marriages cool down. Maybe passion evolves into calm companionship. Maybe I had become predictable. Maybe I had grown boring. There is danger in being logical. You can rationalize your own heartbreak. I told myself love changes shape. I told myself comfort replaces intensity. I told myself stability is more important than excitement. But deep down, beneath every explanation, there was a quiet truth whispering. This was not evolution. It was exit. Her phone never left her hand anymore. If I entered the room, it tilted away instinctively. If I asked who she was texting, the answers were always soft and harmless. Just work. Just a friend. Just nothing. Just is a powerful word. It minimizes everything. She began dressing differently. New outfits, subtle makeup changes, perfume she had not worn in years. More time at the gym, more late meetings. She came home energized some nights, glowing in a way that did not involve me. I noticed it all, and I remained calm, because accusations without proof turn you into the villain, and I refused to beg someone to reassure me of something they should have protected naturally. Then came the night the illusion cracked completely. It was late, past midnight. She had fallen asleep on the couch with her laptop open. The room was dim except for the soft glow of the screen. I was not looking for anything. I did not need to. But my eyes fell on the message thread open on the screen. I feel alive when I'm with you. I read it once. Then again. My chest tightened. My throat dried. But there was no explosion inside me. No dramatic collapse. Just quiet. Because the truth is, I had already felt it coming. Betrayal does not hurt because you are blindsided. It hurts because you recognized the signs and hoped you were wrong. I closed the laptop gently. I covered her with a blanket. I went to bed. The next morning, I made coffee like usual. I did not confront her immediately. Not because I was weak, but because I wanted clarity, not chaos. Anger is loud. Anger clouds judgment. I did not want to scream and regret words later. I wanted to understand the shift in power. And then I realized something chilling. She was not afraid of losing me. She was afraid of being discovered. That realization changed everything. So I stopped reacting. Completely. I stopped initiating conversations beyond necessity. I stopped reaching for her hand first. I stopped asking about her day. I stopped trying to repair something she was already dismantling. And almost immediately she noticed. "Why are you so quiet?" she asked one evening. I looked at her and said calmly, "I've just been thinking." Silence unsettles guilt. When you stop chasing, the dynamic shifts. The one who was drifting begins to panic. Suddenly, she tried more. She sat closer, asked deeper questions, suggested date nights, but there was urgency behind it. Fear, not love. She was afraid I knew, and I did. 2 weeks later, she confessed. It came out fractured. Partial truths wrapped in soft language. She said it was not serious. Said it did not mean anything. said she was confused. No one falls into someone else's arms by accident. It is not confusion. It is choice, repeated over time. She waited for my reaction. I stayed calm. I told her I had forgiven her months ago. Her face shifted in a way I will never forget. Because forgiveness without reconciliation is not comfort. It is detachment. I was already emotionally stepping away. I did not leave that night. I gave myself time, not to reconsider, but to prepare. I began organizing finances quietly, looking at apartment listings, separating documents, reducing emotional dependency. She sensed the distance now. "Are you thinking about leaving?" she asked. "I'm thinking about peace," I replied. And that was the most honest answer I could give. The final month felt like living beside a stranger who suddenly realized the door was closing. She cried more, tried harder, but effort born from fear is not the same as love born from loyalty. The day I packed my things, the house felt smaller. There was no shouting, no broken objects, just quiet movement, folding clothes, closing drawers, placing books into boxes. She stood in the hallway crying. "Don't you want to fight for us?" I looked at her gently. "I did," I said, "for years." And that was it. No dramatic goodbye, no slam door. I walked out carrying boxes and a version of myself that had finally chosen dignity over attachment. Now I live in a smaller apartment, fewer rooms, fewer memories. The mornings are quiet, no tension in the air, no hidden messages glowing in the dark. Peace feels unfamiliar at first when you are used to subtle anxiety, but it is addictive. I do not hate her. Hate is heavy, and I have put down enough weight. What I feel now is clarity. If something feels off in your life, trust that feeling. Intuition whispers long before evidence appears. Do not let anyone convince you that awareness is insecurity. Silence is not weakness. Sometimes it is the strongest statement you can make. I did not scream. I did not beg. I did not destroy what remained. I chose dignity, and dignity, in the end, is louder than revenge. If you have ever stayed quiet while your heart was breaking, then you understand this story in a way that needs no explanation. And sometimes, understanding does not need noise. It just needs silence. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and drop a comment to let me know how it made you feel.